All right, we share the screen. All right, we share the screen. So, Hare Krishna, welcome to the next session, Yoga of Work and Yoga of Eating. So, in the last session, we talked about our relationship with work and what is the purpose of work. Many times we see work just as a means to either engage our ability or talents or what we like to do, and also as a means to um, advance in our career and of course make money to support our family, to acquire things that we desire in our life like house and car and good vacations and things like that. So work is mostly seen as in that perspective, that it's a means through which I can um, get things I want, a means through which I can feel satisfied using my abilities, and I can grow and things like that. But the real purpose of work that is described in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhakti text is work should be done in such a way that the work actually helps us to develop our attraction for God. There is a text in the Bhagavatam. It says, "Dharma swanustita pumsam vishwakshena kathasu yat na utpada yeta yadi ratisham evahi kevalam." So whatever our dharma swanustita pumsam, that whatever our work is, according to our nature, according to our ability, it should be such that it helps us develop a desire to hear about God, to connect with Him. And if it doesn't do that, despite making us rich and despite making us a big person in this field or that field, if we are not able to really achieve this goal, that we develop a deep attraction for hearing about God and connecting with Him, then it says Shama eva hi kevalam. Then it's just a useless labor. Uses very strong language. It's just a useless labor because even after and the reason for that is that this human life is very short, and uh, you see, people can just die at any moment. I mean, you have a plane crash or whatever. We save all our life, create so many dreams, then everything is taken away in a flash. We don't even get a notice. We don't get any time to prepare and arrange things. So human life is very short, and the real purpose of human life is to develop our love for God. That is the only purpose and the real purpose of life. Rest everything is just somehow we have to make do, making the best use of a bad bargain. So in that light, even the work that we do is also uh, geared towards that purpose. Work should help us come closer to God rather than um, take us away from our real duty of self-realization. So it's called Shama Eva Hi Kevalam, that we spend so much time investing in ourselves and this and that. But when death comes, all of it is taken away, and then we have to start all over again if we get a human birth in our next life. If we don't get a human birth, then anyways, all this hard work is gone down the drain. Therefore, it's called Shama Eva Hi Kevalam. So, in the yoga of work, the central focus is that let me align my work in such a way that I can connect with God. Let me use the results of my work to connect with God, to serve God. And while I'm working, let me also remember and think of God. That is the instruction that Krishna gives Arjuna. He tells him, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha mai arpita mano buddhi mame vashashi asamsaya. That he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, which means at all times. Mam anusmara yuddhacha, that you do this fighting, you fight while remembering me. A tall order that while you're fighting, Arjuna is asked to remember God, um, and, uh, and think of Him. Mai arpita mano buddhi, that while fighting, offer your mind and intelligence to me, which means that the mind is taking shelter of God in that extreme situation. So, and Mameva shashi samsaya. If you do this, Arjuna, that while fighting, you think of me, remember me, and engage your mind and intelligence with me, then I guarantee that you will be successful. And at the end of your life, you'll come back to me. So this is an instruction for us also. This is the yoga of work, that while we are doing whatever we are doing, we do it as an offering. That is our intention, that I'm doing this work not just to take care of my family or whatever I want to achieve in life, but I'm doing this work as an offering to God, to Krishna. And with that intention, we start the work. And then while we are doing the work, we also remember, think of, just like we remember so many other things while working. Go back home and I'll enjoy in this way and enjoy in that way. So similarly, we include our remembrance of God while working in some way or the other. And then when we get the fruits of work, then we engage a part of the fruits of work in serving God in some way. And then the cycle of yoga is complete. And then this, when we work in this way, then what happens that we are not implicated by the results of work, because any work we do, it has consequences. It has karmic consequences. And those consequences bind us, those karmic reactions bind us and force us to again take birth again and enjoy or suffer the results of our work. There's so many intended and unintended, known and unknown consequences of working in this world. Whichever company we are working for, we don't exactly know what their background is, and what kind of activities they're doing, the products that they're making, how it is impacting the world. So there is a karmic reaction involved at every stage. And being part of that job, we also share a part of those reactions that we don't even know we are accruing. It's like a passive accumulation of karma without our knowledge, passive smoking. We are not doing anything, but we are accumulating that karma. So Krishna says, if you don't engage in work as a sacrifice, in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagyathartha karmano anyatra loko ayam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. He says, Yagyathartha karmano anyatra. That do your work as a sacrifice, as an offering. And if you don't do that, lokoyam karma bandhana. Karma bandhana means you get bound by the reactions of karma. Tadartham karma kaunteya. And if you do it as a sacrifice to me, as an offering to me, mukta sangha samachara, then you'll be liberated in this life, and definitely you'll be liberated after death. So when we offer our work in this way, then we are also not disturbed, because people are so stressed out and disturbed nowadays at work, greater and greater demands, and so much pressure to succeed and to even maintain, somehow survive in the workplace, and not getting the results we want. Krishna says, if you do the work as an offering to me, then I take care of you in all different situations. You'll never fail. And even there are some failures or whatever, I'll protect you, and I'll take you to the next level. And I have personally experienced that in my life over the last 30 years, whenever I worked, trying to work in this consciousness, although I'm not perfect. But still, even trying to work in this consciousness has helped me tremendously in every stage. I've seen how Krishna has protected me and taken care of me, and never had any scarcity of resources. And so Krishna is offering, he said, you have to work anyways. So then work and offer the work to me. And it's not that I will take away everything, but when you do that consciousness, then work becomes a means of yoga. Because some people say, I can't worship God throughout the day. I have to do something. So Krishna acknowledges that. Arjuna's duty, his nature is to fight. So Krishna says, okay, go ahead and fight. But while fighting, think of me. So that way, our work becomes worship. Our work becomes yoga. And we reap the benefit of this practice throughout the day and throughout our life. So this is the yoga of work that we discussed in the last session. Um, and today we'll talk about the yoga of eating, because that's another big part of our life. Because why do we work? We want to put food on the table, right? So how do I now align this another important aspect of our life with uh, with our spiritual evolution? And
It feels
Krishna offers us this wonderful practice of the yoga of food. which is just about to come now. Okay. So yoga of eating is liberation through food. And this is a very central principle in yoga, that the tongue is a very important organ in our body. And tongue is mainly used for eating, tasting good food, and talking. So here we are focusing on the eating part. So it says that as soon as the tongue is controlled and purified, all other senses automatically get purified. And we'll unpack that. Why is that? Because all the senses actually they derive their nourishment through food. The kind of food we eat actually has a great impact on our consciousness. It has a great impact on our desires, our ambitions, what kind of lifestyle we want to have. So, although we don't think so much about food, but food actually goes and nourishes and connects with every single cell of our body. And it affects our mind, it affects our senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. They have a certain quality, they have a certain affinity. Our eyes have a desire to look at certain things, our nose has a desire to smell certain things, our tongue has a desire to eat certain kind of things, right? So, all these senses they are pulling us in all different directions, and we helplessly get pulled around. We think that I am the person who's desiring this, but actually it's not me, the soul. It's the tongue, or it's the eye, or it's the ear, which is desiring something. It's object. So, but the tongue is the most powerful, because if you don't eat anything, all the other senses they become very weak. And so, for example, if you fast for a day or two, or for some reason if you have some disease, a stomach ache, uh, or some virus, then we are not able to eat so much. And you'll see how all our senses become very weakened. Our desire to enjoy actually goes down quite a bit when we are not able to eat. So therefore, tongue is the gateway to energy and nourishment for all the senses. So if the tongue is controlled and purified, then all the other senses they also reap the benefit of that effort. So that's the central principle of yoga of eating. And we know that G.B. Shaw, he made this famous statement that we are what we eat. Um, some people think that we can just eat anything that is available to us on this planet. Now, that's one way to look at it. But we should also consider what are the consequences. Is there a connection between the food and the kind of person I am? Um, how does it impact me? How does it impact my health? How does it impact my physical health or my mental health? All these things they have an intimate connection with food. So lately, people have been actually looking into food and its connection with ourselves, and also what is the connection between food and our journey, our spiritual journey. So lately, we can see how food has been so secularized, and uh, this graduate student of Princeton, he makes that our eating has been secularized, which means you can eat anything basically. It has been robbed of its poetry and beaten into the staccato uniformity of packaged snacks. And that's what all the big grocery stores now, you go and canned foods and packaged foods and foods loaded with preservatives and so many other unwanted things that have such a harmful effect on our health, but also on our consciousness. We have insisted upon efficiency as the only criterion of our culinary aesthetic. We are in a desperate need of reconnecting our eating with the sacred. So he's discovering that eating actually is intimately connected with our sacred self, with our journey on this planet. And the more we kind of isolate eating from that journey, the more we go astray. And the whole planet actually suffers. We see how um, so much of our resources on this earth are now getting depleted because of eating. Especially such a huge increase in meat eating has devastated the planet. So much extra carbon dioxide is emitted, methane is emitted. Millions and millions of acres of forests have been cleared, or actually are cleared every day to create farmland for grazing cows and grazing um, um, animals for slaughter. And all this green land is being wasted, and not enough plants are being recreated, and so much. It is said that it takes about 10 times more resources, grains, and to feed um, a cow for which is slaughtered than using the grain for directly feeding people. So much more resources are being used, and the planet is actually becoming warmer and warmer, and a big component of that is actually meat eating. Um, so this is a funny video. Some people think that chocolate comes from brown cows. We are so disconnected from the source of our food.
Tonight's Fact or Fiction is brought to you by America's Finest Carpet.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're talking chocolate milk and people's lack of knowledge about it. A story going around today claims that in a new poll, 7% of Americans believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Sadly, this is true. The Innovation Center for U.S. Dairy surveyed 1,000 adults. Here's the results. 48% didn't know how chocolate milk is made. And yes, there is that 7% thinking that it comes from brown cows.
Great. Well, this is just one glimpse. We don't know the source, and more importantly, we don't know the consequences on our body and on our physical and mental health. So, what it takes to get food on your plate? Have you ever thought about it? What is the sequence of producing food on our plate? So, some of these things are seeds that were cultivated over hundreds of years ago to produce our crops. Now that's a great crisis of seeds that is going on all around the world. Seeds are getting manipulated with GMO, trying to make them more resistant to insects and things like that, and produce more and more under adverse weather conditions. So genuine seeds, original seeds are getting lost, and the kind of seeds that are coming out, nobody knows what kind of impact they have on our body and our consciousness. People are already seeing the adverse effects, and the more as we progress, more and more effects will be visible in our health. It takes the nutrient-rich soil. That's another crisis that is going on because of this secularization of food. Overproduction and the same soil being used for the same kind of crops over and over again for producing maybe say sugarcane or cotton. There's no rotation of crops. The soil is getting depleted, and then so many people are now coming to realize that we need to preserve our soil. The clean water supply to provide hydration to. So water is also getting depleted because, again, this whole cash crops business and because of meat production. It takes tremendous amount of water, maybe 20, 30 times the kind of amount of water to produce 1 pound of meat than to produce 1 pound of grain. Because so much water is needed to clean the cows or clean the cattle or other animals, to feed them, to prepare their food and things like that. So much water is needed. The weather that provide perfect growing conditions, and that is becoming, and because of all this damage to the weather, now we have uncertain weather patterns, too much rain or too much heat, no rain, or flooding in areas. So the weather is going topsy-turvy, and a big component of that is our eating habits. The farmers who strategically plan their crop selection, and the farmers are getting depleted because they don't have enough resources, and they are getting sued by these big food corporations who sell them seeds of a certain kind. If they don't buy the seeds from them, then they're basically eliminated and financially ruined. So this is another big crisis that is going on. The workers on the farm, we need them to take care of so many things on the farm, to produce, to transport, and that is another crisis that is unfolding, not enough workers. The lives of the animals that were sacrificed. So many animals, actually insects, animals that depend on the food, and they are also part of the ecosystem. So when we are growing crops that are actually harmful to these insects and animals, we actually the animals die, and it disturbs the whole ecosystem. And all those chemicals that are put to produce these crops, fertilizers and insect-resistant crops and insect-resistant sprays and things like that that are put on our crops, they are actually leaching back into our water and coming back into our bodies, basically. The driver who produces transports the food, and that's another revolution that is going on. People, our food is coming from Mexico or South America, some of our food, and we have lost touch with what is going on locally. And now there's another, like, people are waking up to that. Hey, why should I uh, eat food that is coming from across the world? Because I'm basically causing so much wastage of resources to eat that food or to eat that apple or to eat that peach that is being transported from far away. The grocery stores that are stocking our food, that's another, we because the food needs to look fresh and new, the grocery stores are storing the food in cold storage for months and then putting some chemicals to make it look shiny and attractive, and we go and buy it. So what we are buying is actually not something that is produced by nature. It is kind of manipulated by humans to make more money or to make us like it and buy it. So, and then the grocery store clerk who checks us out, and the person who prepares the food with your love. So you can see how there is such a, great chain of cause and effect here before the food gets to us, and all of these things are getting affected. Now, the reason we are showing all this is to understand, like the food that we take for granted. I might buy a pound of tomatoes or a bag of potatoes for $2 or $5. But is that the real cost? Uh, if you evaluate the total cost of actually producing that food, then it is tremendous. Who is actually paying for that? Like the cost of oxygen we inhale per day is actually $17,000. 550 liters per day at $30 a liter. If you were to live on an oxygen tank, and this is how much it will cost us, cost of oxygen. Same thing for plants, and they are inhaling carbon dioxide. But there is a cost to that. Cost of sunlight we use per day is $12,000. Um, this is an estimate based on how much space we need to live. If we were to produce this sunlight and the energy from the sunlight on our own, this will cost us that much. So, just to help us understand that we are so grateful to get all these resources, and we are not getting a bill for the sunlight. We are not getting a bill for the air that we breathe in. We are not getting a bill for so many things from the soil that, hey, I'm producing your food, send me a payment. The soil, Mother Earth is not asking us for that. So many things are going on. So it kind of helps us to understand that we are actually receiving so much from God. We are receiving ultimately, God is the one who's providing all this. And then we have, um, uh, we can appreciate, at least we can start appreciating that I'm getting so much, and I'm in gratitude. I can feel some gratitude. So this yoga of food, this is a monk who lives in Korea, and he's very famous. He became very famous because of his this. He developed this system of offering his food, offering his in the mood he grows his food in the mood he. So that you can watch the full video on YouTube about this person. And he brings this concept of gratitude. He brings the concept of food as a meditation, food as an offering, and food as an offering of love. And the whole life changes actually when we start treating our food with that way. So lately, people are actually waking up to this reality that how when the food actually affects our consciousness. So when the food is infused with different vibes, then those vibes are actually carried over to the person who eats them. So this company, interesting, Intentional Chocolate, founded by Jim Walsh, he used special recording devices to capture the electromagnetic brain waves of meditating Tibetan monks. And then he exposes his confections to the recording for 5 days per batch. He replays them. So, and then a scientist later on conducts a test, and he found that the people who consume that chocolate, intentional chocolate, it improved their mood 67% compared with people who ate regular chocolate. So there's something to say about that. There was also an article in Time magazine many, many years ago where it carried the impact of people playing spiritual music or some music, soothing music to the food while it is being produced. And people who consume that food, they actually shared how it actually helped them change their mood or change their consciousness and change their response to things in their day-to-day life. Another company, H2OM, has sold water infused with wishes for love, joy, peaceful health, and all these restorative music played at their bottling warehouse. So people are discovering this connection between food and our consciousness, how it affects our consciousness. So in Bhakti Yoga, actually the principle is actually fully manifested in this form of offering our food to Krishna. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yat karosi, yad ajnosi, yad jihosi, dadasi, yat tapasyashi kaunteya, tat kurishva mad arpanam. Krishna says that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in charity, whatever austerities you perform, make this an offering to me. So what does this mean? It means that whatever food we eat, which is vegetarian, which has certain restrictions in terms of what Krishna likes. So when we offer that food to Krishna with fruits, grains made from fruit grains and things like that, and then cook that food with love, and then we cook with the intention that I'm cooking this food for Krishna, and then offer that food, which means we whatever we cook, we don't taste it while eating, while making it, and then we offer it to Krishna and say a prayer of thanks and request Krishna that because of you, I have received this wonderful food. I have received this ability to acquire this food, and I offer you in return. It's like a child who's in gratitude and offers something back to their parents out of gratitude. The similar mood that recognizing that all these resources have to come together for me to get this food. Suppose there is a even one thing going wrong in the environment or in the chain, we may not get like avocados, for example. Something goes wrong in Mexico and suddenly we don't get avocados because there was some change in nature there. And the prices go up or down. You can see how fragile the whole system is. But at the cause of it is all God, because He's arranging all these things for us to enjoy in this material world. So expressing our gratitude through food is a very powerful means. It helps us connect with God in such an intimate way. So now what happens is that when we offer, so what is, I'll explain what is the process of offering. When we offer this food to Krishna and then eat it, then actually that food is actually infused with Krishna's mercy. Krishna accepts that food and then he eats it, but we don't see that he has finished the plate. Krishna replaces the food, whatever is there on the plate. We don't see it. In some cases, there have been many cases in Bhakti history where Krishna actually eats the food and the food disappears. But that is for people, that is up to Krishna how he wants to respond. But the food actually gets infused by Krishna's spiritual energy, and when we eat that food, it completely changes our consciousness. Our consciousness becomes spiritual, our desires become spiritual gradually. And we can testify to that because when we started on our journey 30 years ago, um, I especially had no interest in spirituality. And one day we just went to the temple in Washington, D.C. And on a Saturday morning, there was this whole table filled with delicious items, and there was nobody to eat. So me and my wife, we just took a plate load of food, which was actually this food offered to Krishna. It's called prasadam, which literally means mercy. And we enjoyed that food. And then we started coming there every Saturday. We knew that there is good food there, and we started coming there. And just by eating that food, my consciousness started changing, and uh, I started becoming open to discovering or inquiring more about this bhakti. And gradually, we got fully interested and involved in this following this process of bhakti. So it is like an infection. Like if you have an infection and somebody else eats that food that you have eaten, or part of that food that you have eaten, you will also catch that bug. You say if you have a virus or something and somebody eats food from the same plate you have eaten, they will also catch that virus. So this is the principle behind prasadam, that when we offer Krishna some food, then Krishna eats that and he offers that food back to us, infused by his bug of bhakti or love. Then when we eat that, we also catch that bug of love and bhakti. And Krishna Krishna says that you can offer me anything, a fruit or a flower. He says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayashyati, that you can offer me a leaf or a fruit or a flower. He's not demanding that you have to cook an elaborate meal for me. Whatever you have easily available in your house, just offer that to me. It just has to be vegetarian. Krishna does not like to eat meat. So we offer him vegetarian food, and Krishna also does not like onion and garlic. So we offer him uh, food prepared with that in mind. And if you don't have anything else, you can just offer him some water, or you can just offer him a fruit, cut up a fruit and offer it to him. So gradually, you can get into this habit of eating food that is offered to Krishna, and this is a very practical, easy way to develop spiritually. Even if you don't do anything else, if you can just have this simple practice of offering something to Krishna and eating that, then we'll make rapid advancement in our spiritual journey. So this is a very interesting example how Steve Jobs, when he was studying at Reed College, he he didn't have enough money and he did not get a full meal for many days. So he'd go to the Hare Krishna temple in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and he admitted that on his commencement speech in Stanford one year.
It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned.
So this food definitely helps Steve Jobs in some ways. So the principle behind the yoga of food is gratefulness and acting in a life of gratefulness. And offering food to Krishna is a very simple and easy way to express our gratefulness. David Stanlrast, he says, it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. Sounds simple, but being grateful even in difficult situations of our life to God, to the creation, to the universe, being grateful makes us happy no matter what condition of life we are. And it always keeps us grounded and keeps us very equipoised. So we'll take a pause here and take any comments or reflections. Anybody has any thoughts? Pauline, maybe you can share something. You said we are losing small farms to monopolies. Yeah, that is actually very scary, and it's a rampant practice that is happening around the world.
Yeah, I saw a documentary. I think it was made by an East Indian, um, and it's on the rapid loss of farms in the United States, which
Hmm.
is going through what India went through with the rice growing thing. So there's a lot of pain right now. And
Hmm.
I guess we have to go through this pain in order for people to recognize it's not the way to go. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go through some very scary times of lack in order to rethink how we're going to do, how we're going to, how we're going to get food. It's
Yeah.
going to be probably one of the biggest things, water and food
Oh,
in the
yes.
next decade.
And they are becoming more and more scarce. Good food and
Yep,
water, they are disappearing
yep,
very fast.
yep.
Thank you.
And I
Mary,
agree
any
with
thoughts?
you. I agree
Yeah, go
with
ahead.
you. Attitude is very powerful,
Hmm.
and it does change not only the way the food is chemistry is changed, but our within us to be able to accept the food in a way that's would provide us the nutrients we need for higher consciousness. Thank you.
No, thank you. I fully agree. Um, Mary, any thoughts from you?
We go. Well, I do believe we are what we eat, 100%. Because
Hmm.
when you see the kids eat a lot of sugar, they're all wound up. But I know for myself, I don't eat meat. I don't like meat, and I never have as a child. Um, but I noticed that when I've gone over friends' homes and I had a little piece of chicken or just something, it just made me feel very sluggish. And my mother
Hmm.
always used to tell me when I was younger that when the animals were killed, something, and this was 50 years ago now, this long
Hmm.
time ago, I'm 61. And mom always used to say when the animals were killed, something went through their system into the meat and would make you fearful. So it was best not to eat meat because of what they did and how they killed them.
Yeah, that's a
So,
very good point that the emotions that the animals have at the time of or before and during the
yes.
killing process, they get trapped in the body and they're transmitted to the person who's eating them. It's a very subtle transmission. And then we can see how the world has become more and more violent. Prabhupada, he used to say that so many slaughterhouses around the world, there's a huge amount of karma that also comes because of that. And somebody has to pay the price. And we can see how the world is getting more and more violent. So many wars and so many natural calamities that are happening that were not there before. And then one big component of that is this karmic burden that we are paying. Kakali, any thoughts from you?
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Much.
Okay, if you go ahead, you can go out, Kavaldi.
Go ahead, Kakali. I think you were saying something. Yeah.
No, I was saying that food matters a lot because, I mean, the type of food you eat, that's also help to create your mind and other things like body, how you speak and how you do your activities, everything reflects. Like if
Mm,
you have all these animal products, like as you just saying, Mary also saying, so the same here, I never ate any meat. So I don't know
mm,
that because I am also a vegetarian type of. So
mm,
so I think the aggressiveness comes with that kind of eating habits.
mm, mm,
So as you eat more and more all these kinds of like animal products, you have definitely dairy. I always eat, drink milk and other cheese and all. But like meat, I think part of the aggressiveness is because of as you eat more and more meat, you will be more aggressive, and
mm,
that's
mm,
reflecting everywhere. And as you just rightly said, that parts of the world is just on fire, like people are fighting for no reason. So all these things, and I think food is part of the fact. Like what kind of food you have, food habit you have. So that is very, very important. Like that's why we called it here as Swatik food.
Yes.
And yeah, so that is very, very important.
No, thank you. I think, yeah, we can see how so many wild forest fires and so many things are
Yeah,
going on.
yeah, yeah,
It's scary.
yeah.
Go ahead, Imanshu, you had a question.
Yeah, so like I understood the connection between the food and the like how it affects your physical body, and if it is done as an offering to Krishna, then it gets our consciousness gets infused with Krishna's mercy. I was also wondering like how exactly how exactly it works about the connection with the food which we eat to our soul, right? So
Your voice
like
is breaking up. Can you say it again? It's not
uh,
clear.
is it audible better now? Or?
Same. Maybe you can come closer to the mic or something.
Uh, okay. Uh, I'm not sure if it's going to
Yeah,
be
go ahead.
audible.
This is better now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just wondering, like, how exactly the food we eat, what is the connection of the food we eat to the soul, right? Like, because, like,
Ah,
how it works, right? Because the food we eat definitely affects the cells in our body and affects our physical
hmm.
well-being and the energy that we have. But how does it affect the soul? And what
Ah,
is the how it works? Yeah.
Wonderful question. Thank you, Himanshu, for asking that. So, how does the food is physical thing and it affects the body and the mind, but how does it affect the soul? So, how does it affect the soul? So now when we have something, so same thing applies to the sound, right? How does it affect the soul? Sound is something material. So when we are chanting and we are immersed in some spiritual sound, how does it affect my soul? So all these senses actually, what we see, what we eat, what we hear, what we touch, all these things, all our senses, um, they actually send their sensation to the mind. They have an impact on every cell of our body, right? What we see affects everything in our body. Like if you see something horrifying, then the whole body actually reacts to that. When we hear something horrifying, then all our body reacts to that. Versus if we hear something very peaceful, then the whole body is affected. Now, when we eat food that is spiritualized, then it basically what it does, it has twofold effects. It has uh, a purifying effect on our consciousness. So all our senses, our mind has so many material desires and so many material thoughts from before. So much fear, anxiety, stress, all those things are deposited in every cell of our body and also in our mind and in all our senses. So when we eat food that is spiritualized, it acts as a cleansing agent and it removes all those subtle toxins from our senses and our mind. And it also, that vibration, that spiritual vibration also reaches the soul. So the soul actually feels actually fed. When we just eat food, which is just regular food, then it's not able to feed the soul because soul is subtle and the soul is seeking some spiritual connection with God. So food that is spiritual, it has that spiritual energy which is able to be fed to the soul. It's not a physical mechanism, but Krishna's mercy comes through the food and then it reaches the soul. And at the same time, it purifies our mind, purifies our senses. So the mind now starts becoming interested in spiritual things. It becomes more inquisitive. It finds its comfort in spirituality. So the mind now wants to engage more and more with God. So it's a two-prong effect. We become more and more attracted, we get purified, we become peaceful, we become full with knowledge and positive energy. And then the soul also feels very happy and satisfied by Krishna's mercy. So that's how it impacts our soul. So it's like a self-fulfilling cycle. And the more you eat spiritual food, the more you want to engage in spiritual activities. As simple as that. and then you become stronger and stronger spiritually. I have seen that in my own consciousness. Like, if for some reason, like say, if I have to eat out like for 2, 3 days because of traveling or because of some other circumstances, and if I have to eat out, food cooked by anybody, like somebody who cooks your food in anger, if somebody cooks food in anger, then that anger will permeate that food, and a person who's eating, they will experience that anger. So similarly, um, when I have eaten food cooked in wherever, then I feel my consciousness kind of takes a dip, and um, I can notice that certain, like the more desires start coming to the mind, and you can actually do that experiment and then see for yourself.
Thank you. Also, as a follow-up question, like I think you mentioned about spiritual music and that can really help, right? And spiritual
Yeah.
remembrance during the thing. So,
Yeah.
like, what kind of qualifies as spiritual music? Like, is there a resource that we can use, or like, how?
Yeah, any kirtan, I mean, what I do when I'm working, I'll play some kirtan, or some bhajan or something, or if I'll listen to some lectures, spiritual lectures while I'm working. So it's going on using headphones so nobody else is disturbed, but at the same time, I am just listening. So those simple things can be very powerful. Uh,
Uh, Thank you.
thank you. So let me go back and finish the presentation. So this guy on Wall Street, he's just talking about how there is a moral decline in the society.
And mentorship does not need to fail us. Trust and confidence. Two of the things we value, two of the things we know we want, two of the things we know we need. But yet, so regrettably, we're in a moment of severe crisis of leadership and failing trust in our institutions. Over the past 17 years, the Edelman Barometer for Trust has measured confidence and credibility in our institutions and the people behind them. And there's been a steady decline each and every year. There's been a fall off in our trust and our confidence. It goes well beyond politics, but let's start in government. In government and media, the trust factor is at basically an all-time low of approximately 40%. What about the institutions of business and even NGOs? The trust factor is only.
So anyways, the steady decline in society in all different um, moral decline, and we can see that right now the way the world is, it's in a horrible situation. And this picture shows that how the blind leading the blind. There's a saying in the Bhagavatam that when a blind person is leading other blind people, they all end up in a ditch, basically. So this is the blind following, and as a result, what we have is a runaway train. The society is basically running into an abyss. So that was the yoga of food, but here I guess we are starting to talk about taking leadership. Um, Leadership to affect a change in society actually begins with us. We are all leaders of a certain. We have a circle of influence, and without knowing, actually, it says that how many people can we influence in our lives, and this is predicted that 80,000 we impact 80,000 people over a course of our lifetime. So this is a responsibility that we all have, is to kind of, if I'm already perfect, then why should I? So we can take this simple steps of like yoga of work, yoga of food, implement them in our lives, and then just by living our life, we are actually impacting people in a positive way. We don't have to be a revolutionary of any kind or come to the streets to impact others, but just by our lifestyle, just by our choices, just by our way of living, we actually positively impact so many people. So in that way, we are all leaders. And actually a victory of values, which actually changes the society. And this particular video, it's not playing right now, but you'll see that in this video, this guy who's in the front, he's leading the race all the way to the end. But in the end, I think something goes wrong. His shoe falls off or something, and he slows down. But the guy behind him, he knows that the guy in the front would win. So he basically pushes him across the finish line, and he's happy to be the runners up. So this is the kind of values that if we can somehow bring to the society, will make a big impact. And it starts with ourselves, is that this is a very interesting story, the king and his successor. So a king, he wanted a successor for him. He didn't have a child of his own, so he wanted to select somebody from his kingdom who would become his successor. And he wanted to find out somebody who was honest and who was courageous. So what he did was he came up with a scheme. He called all the eligible young men of his kingdom. He said, "Come and I'll give you a pot of sand or soil, and there is some seed in there, and whoever has the tallest plant and the healthiest plant after 1 year, I will hand over the kingdom to that person." So everybody took the pot, but they realized that nothing was growing in that pot. And so what they did was they all got scared and said, "Okay, maybe I should put some other seed, and that grows up pretty nicely, and I can be the winner." So everybody kind of fabricated some kind of seed, put some other seed in the pot, and they grew their plants. The end of the year, they all come back, put their plants in front of the king, and the king examines. So everybody's pot has different kinds of plants. Somebody has this flower, somebody has rose, and somebody has this and that. And and the king keeps rejecting all of them. And they were surprised that why the king was rejecting, because their plants were healthy and big and tall. Then one guy, he comes with an empty pot, and there's nothing growing in there. Everybody started laughing at this gentleman, that what kind of guy he is. He has nothing to show for, and he has still come. So when the king sees that, he also asks this guy, "What do you have? You have nothing to show for. Why are you here?" And the gentleman said that he realized that actually all the seeds in that pot that was given, they were actually burned, and nothing was supposed to grow. So he didn't want to cheat or come ahead by fabricating new seeds. So he just brought the pot as it is. And when the king heard that, he actually became very happy. He says, who are the person who is fit to rule my kingdom? Because you are honest, you did not cheat." And he immediately gave over the kingdom to this gentleman, and then the king retired. So again, this emphasis on values, this is part of the yoga of work and yoga of eating. We value our work, we value our energy, we value the food that we get, we value where is it coming from, recognizing the source, and then we act in gratitude. So Emerson says, "What you do speaks so loud that I cannot hear what you say." So ultimately, people are not fools. They see what we do. They don't hear what we say. So turning work into worship is basically an art. It's a simple art. Is an art of gratitude. And with what intention we do the work, with what we do with the fruits of the work. So anyways, this was Arjuna's conflict. He was conflicted about his duty and work. He lost touch with the intention for why he was fighting. And Krishna brought him back by infusing this yoga of work into his consciousness. And then Arjuna, once he understood that, he was fully charged, and then he continued with his fighting. So uh, this yoga of work is it's not about renouncing the world, or it's not about not working, but it's working at the same time, working according to our nature, working with detachment from the fruits, and then working for the supreme. That keeps everybody happy, and the environment, the nature that we are living in, the world that we are living in, it becomes a much better place when we do work in this consciousness. So I'll end it here. And if you have any remaining thoughts or comments, take that. So regarding like offering your food, what you can do is it's a very simple process. Say if you want to offer a fruit or something to Krishna, you can keep a picture of Krishna in a clean place, and you can wash that fruit, cut it with a clean knife, um, and offer it to Krishna, chant the Hare Krishna mantra couple of times. And the main thing is in your heart, you say with gratitude that Krishna, you have given everything to me. You are giving this food to me. I offer you this in return as an act of my gratitude. Kindly accept it and kindly bless me. And if you cook something vegetarian food without onion and garlic, then that particular item you can also offer to Krishna. And if you happen to have a tulsi or holy basil, um, then that is wonderful because Krishna loves tulsi. So you can put a leaf of tulsi on top of the food or fruit that you're offering, or even a cup of water you can offer with some tulsi, and Krishna will very happily accept that. One who offers tulsi to Krishna, Krishna becomes forever indebted to that person, he says. So it's very easy to please Krishna. You just have to make a tiny bit of effort and just start with a simple practice. Maybe once a day we offer some fruit or even a flower or some water to Krishna. And then you experience the results in your own consciousness, and that will inspire you to do more. So start small and gradually grow. Before you go to work, you can offer your work to Krishna. Krishna, whatever I'm going to do today, I'm offering this to you. And please be present in my consciousness. Please guide me in all the work that I'm doing. Help me in deciding so many things I have to decide today. Help me in my intelligence. Whatever problems I encounter, please guide me. Also guide me in how I interact with people. How let me stay equipoised. So like that, you can say these prayers, offer it, and then you see, judge for yourself how it helps you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Any last minute comments from anybody?
No, I just wanted to say that's my practice for so long. Like when I was in school, also we started because back in family, if you have that kind of practice,
Hmm.
then it will goes like that. So in our family, we cannot eat anything without offering Krishna. And
Hmm.
the Guru, we got initiated long ago. So first we offer that after
Hmm.
shower, yeah, and then
Very
we,
nice.
yeah,
It's very nice.
yeah, and both times, evening as well as in the morning.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's a kind of a practice, I think. Yeah.
And what benefit do you see because of that?
No, benefit though definitely there are a lot of benefits because I see that people oftentimes any difficult situations they freak out and they don't know what to do. But you
Hmm.
know that will give you a calmness
Hmm.
and yeah, you will be stable, you will be resilient. So that kind of benefits always with Krishna.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I think chanting is a part of that, like as many, you know, numbers you have chanting that is also works. And as you were saying that every time you just chant, so what I do, like even I when I get out from my building I just start chanting, and before I reach to office I chant. So
Hmm.
And in between, whenever you get a space, just chant. So little bit, because if you have like a very like intense job, like all the time you have student coming and all these things going on, so many things going on, so you have to be all the time like, yes, I know what kind of, and this is actually part of Krishna's Leela. So that's how I analyze all the time, because Krishna's lots of planning, lots of Leelas. So every other day what the activity is happening in the office, I feel that some kind of behind the scenes something is there. That's why I am going through this phase. So that's also I always analyze, that way, like, so that you will be okay. Like end of the day you feel like, okay, something will come, definitely Krishna has some planning for me, definitely. It will not be like that. So
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
yeah, yeah. So
Thank you
that
for sharing that.
practice I always, yeah. So I cannot think of anything unless I have like high fever and all that. I cannot go in front of Krishna's. I mean, otherwise I don't fail that. Like even if I travel, I carry Krishna with me. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you. And Mary, sorry, a couple of weeks ago we had something last minute urgent came up, so and that was the only time we canceled. And sometimes
Thank
because
you.
of travel we cancel, but we announce it beforehand. But we'll have every Sunday.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Next week I will join from India. So I am
oh,
traveling on Thursday.
acha. Where
So
are you
I will
coming in
be,
India?
yeah, I will be in Kolkata first, and then from there I will be traveling. Actually,